guys, welcome back to another Tennille Teaches, the 12 animation principles. Today we're going to talk about staging, and I picked this part in particular because I tried to focus quite a bit on the staging of this map part. And I'll be the first to admit that I don't think I'm a master of staging in any means. If anything, I feel like it's one of the weakest animation principles for me. So I'll try to do my best to at least explain it so that you can start working on it yourself. So basically for staging your characters means you want to have the idea of where your characters are, what is going on, what the audience should be looking at. All of that should be crystal clear. And there's a few things we can do to help the staging be crystal clear. One of those ways is to keep everything in the rule of thirds. So if I broke up my, let's zoom out here just a little bit. If we broke up my canvas area into the rule of thirds, everything important or interesting should be happening either in the central box or inside or like on the edge of one of the rule of thirds. This is a basic composition rule, and it works frame by frame as well as when you're trying to move characters around. So I have 3 characters, well 4 if you count the monster. I've got Emowyn here, who's pink, Jaheira, Manx, and then the Beholder, and Boo, of course, can't forget Boo. And as I move these characters, I'm trying to keep the audience's attention where I think they should be looking. So, here at the beginning, we have Emowyn, who's situated roughly in the rule of thirds. If I had been a little bit tighter on my composition here, I would have made sure that, you know, probably the middle of her face fit right into that rule of third. But she doesn't quite, so I'm a little off. And then as she zooms out, she moves into the middle, and the audience is going to follow her. But there's also these magic things coming around her. So I'm hoping that the audience eye is in this middle part, kind of in this upper line up here. And then we zoom out further, and Jaheira comes into frame and almost plops exactly into that middle third line. While at the same time this Beholder is slowly moving in out of the corner of your eye. And then Minx moves in back into that rule of third here, where the audience's eye already should be, and now you've got your full here, especially like my last frame of this shot. You know, we've got Minx on this center line, or on this rule of third line, we've got Jaheira right in the middle, and then the Beholder and Emowyn kind of on this other rule of third. If you put the action out here, it tends to get lost. Now, staging isn't just about composition, though. Staging also can talk about your setting. You know, is the setting clear? For my setting, I have my characters in a cave or in a dungeon-like place. If you've played Baldur's Gate, they're specifically in the Underdark. Is it clear? You just kind of ask yourself all the questions that should be obvious to an audience if they're watching this. Is Emowyn a magic user? Yes, she is. You can see her using magic. You can see Minx has a sword here. Is that obvious to the audience? Can you see the monster here? Does it look like a monster? If you can answer yes to all these questions while watching your animation play back for you, that means you probably have good staging. And just to talk about this last shot, it's just a slow, shaky zoom. Another thing to keep in mind is that when you move from shot to shot, like here, the audience's focus is about here. When I move to the next shot, the audience's focus is already here. So hopefully their eye is going to go from looking at Minx to Boo, who moves slightly faster across the screen, so he's going to catch the audience's eye, to the monster, who is also on the rule of thirds. A great way to do fast shots and animation is to keep everything in the center or on one of these lines, and you can do quick cuts that are even like 6 frames long, so only, you know, bloop, like that long, and then you can switch your shot as long as the next shot stays within that same spot where the audience's eye should have last been. As an additional note to staging, you can make any shot look a little bit more interesting by adding a few little clever camera shakes. If I would have taken the camera out of this and not done these camera shakes, this shot would have been pretty boring. Instead, you get a little extra context for what these magic things do. They're magic missiles, for those of you in Dungeons & Dragons. When they hit the beholder, the camera shakes and there's little flashes of light, and this just kind of helps keep the pace up a little bit for the shot. And same thing on this last shot, it doesn't just zoom in. I could have left this no zoom and just have the characters slightly moving towards each other, but to make the shot look a little bit more interesting, since the staging is nice and clear, I can also zoom and shake the camera a little bit to give it a little bit more life and make the situation feel a little bit more tense. If you want a more detailed tutorial on how to move the camera in Toon Boom, I have a tutorial that you can look at here. It's a little old, so I might be making a new one soon, just to give you a warning. So there you have it. There's a little bit of staging explanation. As I said before, I am not a master of this. It's something I've been working on, but I hope you can use this information to help yourself in your own animations. So, good luck with that. Simi out.